Hi, my name is Pam. I work at K&M Tire as the HR manager, and K&M Tire is a tire wholesale distributor that offers a little over 30 different brands of tires to our customers. Our customers are any businesses that sells tires to the end user. So it could be a car dealership, a tire service center, or a mom and pop service shop. So anyone who drives a car essentially will need to use some of our tires in the future. We have over 530 employees that manage our 20 locations throughout the Midwest. Each warehouse distributes tires to the businesses within their warehouse location. I grew up around this area in Ohio. I went to Paulding High School, and my dream was to be a teacher. Went to school to be a teacher at University of Toledo, and when I graduated with a teaching degree, those years, a lot of teachers were losing their jobs, and there wasn't a lot of teaching positions available. So I found myself moving into a retail manager position. Retail management was a lot of hard work. I actually did work retail through college, so it was a part-time job here and there, but once I got into a management position, I had no idea what our managers went through with the interviewing and the hiring and selecting the right employees, and just helping employees with training and orientations and just employee needs. And throughout that 15-year retail management process, I learned that that was my passion. I loved helping the employees. I loved the interviewing and the hiring and choosing my own people. That was so exciting to me. And so that turned into moving into a staffing agency position. I knew that was my calling, was to match job seekers with positions. So I worked with companies who had employee or positions available, and then I worked with job seekers who wanted a job. What worked with that position was really kind of honing in on my training and my interviewing skills. What didn't work was I lost that relationship building, where I had relationships with those job seekers for maybe a month, and I really missed that. So that led me into this position here at K&M Tire as in an HR role, which quickly turned into the HR manager position, knowing that 10 years ago I hired some employees that still work here, and I love those relationships. That's the best reward, is not only helping them get the job here, but then also helping them through their process of just learning K&M culture and helping them if they want to move up in the company. We have on our website, you can find our company mission, vision, and values. And our values are very similar to just things that you want, things that people want to be like in an ordinary life, not just at K&M Tire. Values such as servant leadership, just serving others and being helpful and kind, being respectful and honest with each other. So it's nothing that K&M has actually created. It's just really being a good person. And that's really part of our values at K&M. I know that life experiences, a lot what I learned in the retail management world, you can't learn in a classroom. So starting to work early, going through high school and college, I think prepared me for a lot of my life experiences. Wonderful. Yeah, patience and having a caring attitude are huge. I think that you have to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes to really understand what they're going through. Always being fair-minded and neutral, and trying not to be judgmental. Everybody has different things that they're going through, and everyone has different reasons for their choices. I think being able to remove yourself from personal opinions with situations is a really hard trait. It's difficult to do, but in an HR role, you really have to be able to do that. Luckily, K&M Tire has a pretty forward-thinking IT department, so that's exciting for us because that means that we typically get newer technology. Things are changing, so we have to move with ever-changing technology. We use, of course, the most updated Microsoft software, PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, lots of Excel in HR, lots of tracking making sure that things are easy to find for searching purposes. We are almost 100% paper-free, so everything is housed within folders within the computer system. So pretty easy stuff to manage, but you really have to kind of know how to get around Word and Excel. So I did get a teaching degree, and it was not focused more on HR. Our training department, of course, here at K&M keeps us moving forward as far as leadership. My learning has never stopped. Like I said earlier, I think with an ever-changing world, I don't think that you can ever stop with your training and teaching yourself. So if you're not taking college classes, reading leadership books, training yourself, even self-training with going into getting involved in any HR resources that you can to keep yourself just knowledgeable about laws that are either going to be coming or that new laws that have been approved, which we've had a lot recently. So and then being in multiple states, you have to be very versed and knowledgeable in state laws. So keeping track of 18 different states is time consuming and challenging. But that's why we have 6 of us in the HR department to keep things always updated and making sure that we are 100% covering all the HR laws. Being at K&M Tire for the last 10 years has really changed for me specifically. 10 years ago, I was handling everything in the HR department, and now that we have a team of 6, it's amazing. But we track all locations, hiring needs, and we do job postings for every location. We run background checks for every location for all new hires. We help process all new hire paperwork, termination paperwork if an employee is leaving the company. We help with all insurance needs for all 530 employees at K&M Tire. So lots of different phone calls throughout the day, lots of interruptions. That's a constant. Interruptions, it just happens. And it's expected. And you can't allow an interruption to upset your day because you have to expect it. Helping with workers' comp needs. Injuries do happen within the locations. We lift tires all day long, so, well, HR doesn't, but we have employees that lift tires all day long, and lifting needs and making sure that they're properly trained, but accidents do happen, so helping with workers' comp injuries. And payroll, of course. Our employees have to get paid, and that's a weekly process, and we have to make sure that our managers are updating time cards properly and getting our employees paid properly and paying them weekly, getting the pay stubs to them. Preparing for the next day is something that is always happening, preparing for meetings that are upcoming, preparing for next month, because again, you never know when there's going to be an interruption. An interruption could be a week-long interruption of helping a workers' comp case or helping an employee with special needs. So always being ready to change gears at a moment's notice is something that is expected in the HR role, I think. We have 20 locations across the Midwest. We do a lot of phone interviews, which at first I thought was going to be really difficult, but sometimes doing a phone interview gives you the ability to look beyond a first impression because you're not seeing them in person. And we have done, I can't even tell you how many phone interviews I've done, and we've hired people with just a phone interview process. So that was always a challenge for me, but now it's second nature, and I can hear over the phone how people are feeling, how people are, if they're being sincere. Phone interviews are a lot of fun, actually. It's anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. We like to talk a little bit about the company so that people have a really good understanding of what we do and then how that position will interact with other positions within the company. And so typically 15 or 20 questions, and depending on the position, we may have some testing. If the position is highly involved with Excel, we will do some Excel testing just to be sure that they have a good understanding of some needs for that position. I think the biggest thing with HR is you have to love people. There's no picking and choosing because all employees have needs. And from a company standpoint, you have to understand that abiding by company policies is not a choice. You do it because of your role. So any employee that works at K&M, they can come take their break, their lunch break, get a workout, and then when they're done with their workout, they can get cleaned up, hop in the shower, and get back to work. Okay, so employees at K&M Tire, if they are on our insurance, they get a pedometer to track their steps. And this Virtual Pulse station is really great because we can download our steps, and then you can actually check your blood pressure and your weight to see how your progress is going.
My name is Tasha. I'm a Human Resources Supervisor at K&M Tire. I've been employed here for about 5 years. My main responsibilities are to oversee the HR team and the tasks that we complete in our department. I supervise a total of 4 employees in our department. When I was in college, I took a few business classes. And after taking those classes, I think is when I started to realize that I was really interested in the business and HR field. And I realized after taking HR classes that HR combines a lot of business type of tasks. So the business management and finance and human relations, different things like that. So I think that's how I realized that I was interested in this field. At K&M Tire, our work schedule is 8 to 4:30. It's first shift hours. Sometimes there is some overtime that is needed to be worked. We don't particularly work in weekends, but we do have busy times of the year. So like when we have insurance open enrollment, that's very busy for us, and we're traveling to the 20 different locations that we have across the country. We handle many different tasks in human resources. We handle an employee newsletter that we create in our department that goes out to the 525 employees that we have at K&M. We process payroll for the entire company. We handle the insurance and benefits for all employees and their families. We handle workers' comp claims, unemployment appeals, many different tasks that we handle in human resources. In the newsletter, we send out emails to employees to get different stories of things that may be going on in their life. So, for instance, if an employee has lost a lot of weight recently, we'll include a story like that in our newsletter. Or if someone just recently had a baby, that kind of thing is included. We also do a spotlight employee where we spotlight an employee at K&M Tire and it just telling about their life story. We include outstanding employees, so different managers within the company can nominate employees within the company to be an outstanding employee, so basically just to tell them a good job and give them public recognition in the newsletter.